Better to bring in a naval ship or set up a barracks somewhere and take them away from the city core and say they have to stay there. Well, they have to stay there. They can use their drugs and yell and scream and fight and do whatever they want to do, but it's not going to be.
And get this massive ship, and then have. I mean, these rooms are perfect, right? They got a bathroom. They got a view of the ocean. A view of the ocean. They have common areas. They have outdoor spaces. They're perfect, right?
Quarantine them. Quarantine them.
Quarantine them.
When BC Conservative politician Dallas Brodie talks about wanting to quarantine drug addicts to move them out of the city centers and out on a boat out into the open ocean, we see that some people, they don't really care about the root causes of this issue. They don't really care about the people involved. For them, really, it's just a visual bother, that they're sick of looking at the inequality in their society. They're sick of confronting it. But if we look at some of the statistics, 20% of the drug overdose deaths in BC were Indigenous people. Indigenous women in particular are 12 times more likely to die of a toxic drug overdose than women of any other race. And we have to think about why that is. And to do so, we do have to confront Canada's history. We just went through National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Canada's GDP is mostly generated by real estate, and that involves the selling of Indigenous land. And we can also look at, the Truth and Reconciliation report detailing residential schools, how those destroyed Indigenous families. We can look at the murdered and missing Indigenous women inquiry that showed that a lot of violence is still ongoingly directed toward Indigenous women in particular. And I believe that those are some of the root causes of this issue that we have to confront. We have to look at with our own two eyes. We can't just send them out into the ocean and let them deal with the problem. We have to confront the problem as a society together. When we see this argument to move this inequality out of our city centers, we see a repetition actually of Canadian history. So we can think about the movement of Indigenous reserves away from city centers. Actually, when Dallas Brodie uses that word quarantine, during the smallpox epidemic, there was a number of times where Indigenous people were quarantined away from the city to deal with this affliction by themselves. So in New Westminster, there's an island called Poplar Island, a small island where they sent a number of Indigenous people suffering from smallpox, but also some that weren't suffering from it, and quarantined them on this tiny island and kind of just said, you can deal with this problem yourself. And we just see this repetition of Canadian history and this move to push this problem away from our own two eyes and out where we don't have to confront it.